This is Khvostov, and it's about to become your new favorite weapon. Bungie just released the artifact mods for the third act of Season of the Echoes, getting one more additional row in our artifact, and with that, it's looking to be heavily pushed towards auto rifles, granting them what appears to be a way to have an infinite mag, a damage resist for survivability, and a damage bonus on top of all of that. And though we don't know percentages on these artifact mods yet, this is still huge for the auto rifle community. Khvostov being a monster at ad clear even in Grandmaster content, for it comes with a 40% intrinsic damage bonus for being an exotic primary, and with the idea that creating orbs is the formula for this weapon, utilizing the artifact mod Radiant Orbs to just become Radiant almost permanently for that additional 25% damage bonus. It's about to get nuts for this gun, but Khvostov is only 5% of the entire playstyle. So to further complement this weapon, we will be making a build pushing it to the next level. Best part about this build is that there is no exotic class item needed. Matter of fact, there is no exotic class item that can make this build better than what we will be going over. And this may be a build that you have seen before. A build that can produce your very own fire team, have insane transcendence gains, decent super gains, and make the mid game with grenades and melees more plentiful than you will ever need. Now let's get into this build, starting off with the subclass. First up will be the Song of Flame Super, for the main reason that it comes with a 90% damage resistance. Pairing this with whatever damage resistance the auto rifle artifact mod is getting would be insane for high density room pushing. Next up, we do have Phoenix Dive, but that is only to give us a little burst of healing whenever we need it. Nothing more to be said there. For our melee, it will be Arcane Needle. It's the best melee warlocks have on the prismatic subclass, having the ability to infect an entire room with tick damage by being unraveled through one single melee charge is as beneficial as it gets. For the grenade, it has to unfortunately be the Storm Grenade. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if it was not apparent yet, this is a Getaway Artist build, heavily inspired by my friend Toity. Check him out if you have not already. But with Getaway Artist making you amplified and spawning in an extra gun onto the field, it is as perfect for this build as it gets. But now it's time to get into the meat of the build, and that is with our aspects. First up, we do have Feed the Void, or Devour, making you both have an instant health refresh and giving you more grenade energy on kills. It's a match made in heaven for Grandmaster content and Getaway Artists combined. But by eating that grenade, we will be spawning in our Hunter, so now it's time to spawn in the Titan as well, with our other aspect, Bleak Watcher, literally falling out as the arc grenade gets eaten as well. Now, where the Bleak Watcher doesn't do a lot of damage, it is amazing at room control, and the enemies don't even need to be frozen to up your chances of survivability. For the Darkness debuff Slow comes with an intrinsic effect to make enemies miss shots more often, and in an activity where damage counts, it's best that they miss as much as possible. Now, getting quickly into the fragments. This is main focus of Transcendence, through and through pretty much. For the first one, we do have Facet of Grace. Now with Khvostov being as goated as it is a kinetic weapon. And with Facet of Grace, defeating targets with kinetic damage grants increased gains for both light and darkness energy. But to further that, we will be going with Facet of Sacrifice, which states that while you have an Arc, Solar, or Void buff applied to you, your darkness energy gains are increased. And to even it out even further for the light portion, we do have Facet of Devotion, which paired with the Arcane Needle out on the field and ticking all enemies, along with Bleak Watcher applying slow to all enemies, this fragment states that by defeating targets affected by darkness debuffs, grant light transcendence energy. And now that transcendence is as plentiful as it gets, with our Transcendence Grenade having the portion of it do void damage, I also went with the Facet of Dominance so it can apply Weaken on top of that. And then for the last fragment, it is just Facet of Purpose. Since we are running the Solar Super Song of Flame, this will be Restoration every time we pick up an Orb of Power. Just a little extra survivability. Now for the weapons, of course, we have been glazing Khvostov this entire time. So nothing new here, I will skip over it. This was pretty much the entire intro to the video. But for our second choice, this is actually a strategic option that I'm choosing here. For in our next act's season artifact row that we're getting, in the final column, we get an artifact that states that if you are amplified, getting kills with an arc weapon will cause them to explode, which is pretty much chain reaction for any arc weapon under the sun. Pairing that with Indebted Kindness lets us capitalize on top of that. And for your heavy, it is completely free game. Go with what you want. I'm not even going to recommend a weapon because it's GM content. You can go with literally anything. Now for the exotic, of course, as stated briefly before, it is Getaway Artist. This exotic did get a nerf recently, but as stated over on Twitter across multiple content creators, this nerf is absolutely negligible. You will not notice it, it does not matter. This exotic is just as good as it was. But now it's time to get into the mods. And honestly, there's only like 2 here that are important, and I will just be going over that. You can copy them here right now, but I'm about to get into the mods, of course. So starting off with the most important one, it is of course a kinetic siphon for the Khvostov. But through this kinetic siphon, we will be becoming Radiant through Radiant Orbs artifact mod, gaining just a bit more super here and there every time we pick one up. And the main reason for it is to get, of course, the Eyes Up Guardian perk procced. Every time you pick up an orb, you get 7 ricochet rounds that ricochet 7 times, thus clearing out a room within a matter of milliseconds, not even seconds. But I did say that there was 2 mods important, and with all of that said, I do want to say that it is literally just a kinetic loader. The reason I'm not stating that any of the health recovery mods are important is because you have Devour on. Devour will instantly refresh your health upon any kill, also giving you grenade energy. So things like recuperation and innervation are built in intrinsically to just Devour. But it doesn't hurt to just have on, right? Now the playstyle is simple. Every time you enter a room that you know you'll be standing there for a few minutes just clearing out ads, of course, you just want to eat your grenade, spawning both your Arc Soul and your Bleak Watcher, and then just start ripping it up with Khvostov, shoot to loot the orbs when you see them, and then watch the real carnage rip it all up. This build has to be the actual poster boy for the prismatic subclass, for it literally takes effect of every element under the sun inside Destiny 2. Though I'm a hunter main, I do have to admit that warlocks with this new expansion, the final shape, they have been eating good, and this build is just one of those reasons why. Now I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, consider sticking around by hitting the subscribe button for me. Smashing a like for me too will help the video out more than you'll ever know, and I will love you all for it. But this is where I'm gonna start tuning out, fellas. Now take care and peace.